Hello, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. Welcome to English with Mehra, the YouTube channel. As you all know, in this series of videos, we are going to talk about English vocabulary use, pre-intermediate and intermediate level. In this specific video, I'm going to cover the second unit of this book. So let's get started. Uh, This is what some students do. So this unit is about how to keep a vocabulary notebook and how to organize new words and vocabulary. As an example, the first person, Raphael, I write down new English words and phrases in my notebook. So here it is written write down, but what's the difference between write down and write? Write is a more general word and means to make letters or numbers on a surface. But write down means to write something on a piece of paper in order to memorize it or not to forget it. And next to each one, I write a Spanish translation. Translation is a noun, and the verb for translation is translate. Translate means to change a written or a spoken word into another language. As an example, you can write the translation of a word in English into Spanish. I usually write down if a word is a noun, verb, adjective, and so on. This is good and useful because you will understand how to use that word in a sentence. So, as an example, if in front of the word translation you write that this word is a noun, you know that you need to use it as a noun in a sentence. The next one is I sometimes write a word in phonemics because English pronunciation is very difficult for me. Phonemic symbols show how to pronounce a word here. But my notebook is a mess. Mess means nothing is in a good order. The synonym of mess is untidy. I like to draw pictures. Draw, this is a kind of drawing. I sometimes make a note of new words in my notebook, but I often forget. So keep in mind that you need to say make a note of. Make a note of something. Make a note of new words. Forget means don't remember. I usually write a translation and sometimes I write example sentences as well. I've got a notebook. The next one, I've got a notebook. I don't use it much, but when I do, I try and list words by topic. As an example, you can write all the words related to food in one category or in one topic. You can write all the words which are related to, as an example, sport in another topic or category. Here, so I put all the animals together and all the clothes words together and so on. I find it's easier to remember the words this way. The next one, I note down new words and phrases. Here, note down is the same as make a note of, but make a note of is a more formal phrase than note down. Sometimes I translate. As I said, translate is the verb format of translation and means to change written or spoken words into another language. Sometimes I translate them into Polish. Here I want to say a very important point. Sometimes one specific word has two different pronunciations and two different meanings. As an example, in this context, Polish means the people from Poland. So the pronunciation is Polish and means people from Poland. But in another context, we pronounce it Polish. Polish is a verb and means to make something bright. As an example, I polish my shoes. Okay, I polish my shoes means I rub my shoes in order to make them bright. And sometimes I write an explanation. Explanation means a description of what something means in English if it's not difficult. For example, kitten means a very young cat or baby cat. Tips for your notebook. A tip is a piece of advice to help you. Here are some tips for your notebook. The first one, put words from one topic in the same place. As I said, you need to categorize the words. So here says that you need to categorize the vocabulary into the group which are related to each other. As an example, as I said, you can write the vocabulary which are related to cars into one category. In this way, you can memorize the vocabulary in a much easier way. As an example, food in one place, clothes in another, etc. Don't mix them up. Mix them up means to put something together with no order. As an example, when you want to make a salad, you mix different items up. You mix lettuce with cucumber, with tomato and other kinds of vegetable. You can also have grammar topics. As an example, uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns are kinds of nouns that we cannot count them. As an example, water. Water is a kind of noun that we cannot count. We can count drops of water, but we cannot count the water itself. As an example, we can say a glass of water instead of saying water. Or a page for words that all have a connection. As an example, words and phrases that were all in a story you read in English. Some words and phrases will go in more than one topic. If you cannot find a topic for a new word or phrase, as an example, useful or in particular, sometimes there is a word that you cannot put that word in any of the categories. So in these kinds of situation, you can put that word in a different place in your notebook. As an example, a page for each day or each week, or perhaps one page for every English lesson you have. Write the date clearly at top. As an example, Monday 14th of May. When you write down new vocabulary, write a translation if it's necessary. Necessary means that you need it. The opposite of necessary is unnecessary. So pronounce it necessary. The stress is on the first syllable. Necessary. Unnecessary. But also write the meaning in English if it's possible, or draw pictures. If possible, add synonyms, opposites, other parts of speech. Parts of speech show that if that word is an adjective, is a noun, verb, etc. As an example, awful is a kind of adjective. So the part of speech for awful is adjective. The synonym for awful is terrible or dreadful. Enjoy is a verb. Like something and get pleasure from it. The noun is enjoyment and the adjective is enjoyable. Example sentences help you with the grammar of a word or with the word partners or collocations. As an example, make a note of. Make a note of is a kind of collocation. I enjoy living in a big city. So keep in mind that a verb after enjoy must be with ing. I enjoy living in a big city. If I use that verb with to, I enjoy to live means at the moment I just enjoy to live. But generally I do not enjoy it. But if you want to say that you generally enjoy, you have to say that I enjoy living in a big city. So you need to use verb plus ing, live plus ing, living. I spent 2 weeks in Rome. So we don't say I passed 2 weeks in Rome. You spend time in a place. So you need to spend time to study this unit. You need to spend time to study a book, as an example. Remember, words often have more than one meaning that you need to know. As an example, tip is also money that you give, for example, to a waiter for serving you in a restaurant. Another meaning of tip was here, a piece of advice to help you. So tip has two different meanings. So here it's time to do the exercises. As usual, please pause the video, think about the answer of these exercises, then do the exercise, and after that, again, continue to watch the video. So exercise 2.1. Organize the words into the topics below. One word can go in two different topics. Use a dictionary to help you. So here there are three different topics or categories. We need to assign each of these words into one of these three categories. Just one word can go in two different topic or even more than one. We need to see. Uh, so first, let's see the meaning of these new words. Diet. Diet is the food that a person or animal usually eats. Branch is a part of a tree that grows out from the main trunk. Lay the table. Lay the table means to set up the table with plates, forks, and glasses before eating. Count. Count means to find out how many there are. As an example, we can count the people who are in a room. Dig here means to make a hole in the ground with a tool. Ground is a solid surface of the earth. Flour is a kind of powder. Add up. Add up to find the total by combining the numbers. Raw. Raw means not cooked. Leaf. Leaf is the flat green part of a plant. Minus. Minus means to take away one number from the other one. As an example, 5 minus 4 equals 1. Butcher. Butcher is a person who cuts and sells meat. 1,000, you know the meaning, is a number. Frozen. Frozen means keeping something very cold to preserve. As an example, frozen meat is very cold in order to be preserved. 0, you know, is a number, and butterfly is a kind of insect. So here, garden, and numbers. So let's do it together. So diet is related to food. Branch is related to garden. Lay the table is related to food. Lay the table. Count is related to the category of numbers. Dig is related to garden. Ground again is related to garden. Flour is related to food. Add up. Can write it in numbers category. Raw, as an example, raw meat is related to food. Leaf related to garden. Minus is related to numbers. Butcher is related to food. Thousand is related to number. Frozen food. Zero numbers. And at the end, butterfly, which is related to garden. So let's go to the other part. Explain these words in English, or draw a picture, or if you think an explanation is too difficult and a drawing is not possible, write a translation itself. So as I said, raw means not cooked. I explained the meaning here. Dig means to make a hole in a ground. Butcher is a person who sells meat. Leaf is the flat green part of a plant. Flour is a powder. Lay the table means to set up the table before eating. Add up means to sum different numbers together. And minus, as an example, 10 minus 8 equals 2. Exercise 2.3. What information could you include with these words? The answers are all on the opposite page. The opposite page is here. So let's do it together. So forget. The opposite of forget is remember. Often. As an example, let me write it. The opposite for awful is terrible. Necessary. The opposite for necessary is unnecessary. Translate. Translate is a verb and the noun is translation. Translation. Tip. Tip had two meanings. One of them is the money that you give to someone, and the other one is a piece of advice. And enjoy is a verb and the noun is enjoyment. and the adjective is enjoyable. Look at here, enjoyment and enjoyable. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found this unit useful for yourself. Have a nice day and goodbye.